Infantry have been one of the best troop types in the game for a long time already, and of course, since we already done 3 best march setup for archers and mages, we are going to do same thing for infantry players, because since we have so many legendary heroes in Call of Dragons, people are sometimes misunderstanding which heroes are actually great together and which are the 3 best marchers in Open Field. Plus, we have some statue fights where you are allowed to use 3 marches maximum, and of course, during that time, you always want to use your strongest hero pairs in that 3 march setup. That's why I think these kind of videos are really important, especially for beginners or especially for players who are a little bit confused, right? So, let's not waste too much time and let's get back to work. 3 best march for infantry players. Number 1 march, which I think is really obvious, which I think should be in every single infantry mains account in a pretty strong position. That's of course Goresh and that's of course Skogul, right? These ones are the best G2 heroes in the game, in my opinion, right? I remember when Goresh and Skogul came out, that was the point when Call of Dragons became infantry meta gameplay game, right? Because in G1 we had Garwood, we had Nika, we had Madeline. Let's be honest, none of them were strong enough to have good merits for infantry players, but after Goresh and Skogul, a lot of players started maining infantry, and yeah, I won't gonna lie, of course they would, right? They had everything, and they have everything. Defensive stats, lot of counter-attack damage, good rally heroes, good garrison heroes. Basically, every single stage of Call of Dragons gameplay, Goresh and Skogul was really good, right? And yeah, as always, how you can actually build Goresh and Skogul. You can usually go Goresh 5-5-5-1, but I believe the awakening skill is so good that you kinda have to awaken Goresh at the same time. But yeah, 10% physical attack bonus increased and 5% more damage taken reduction. For the Skogul, well, Skogul is the PvP hero, which means awakening Skogul has a big value, right? Which means there is not a single rally or garrison skill in this lineup, and every single skill is usable in open field. So basically, awakening Skogul matters a lot, right? And yeah, we are not really only speaking about the hero pairs, we are basically also speaking about the artifacts and warpeds for Goresh and Skogul, and let's be honest, right? Goresh and Skogul has one of the best artifacts in the game for infantry players. That's Spirit Bone Torque. Infantry unit defense, legion defense, defensive stats, which are always important for infantry gameplay, but what's the most important for this artifact is of course the skill, right? Not only Spirit Bone Torque will give you 600 rage, but it will taunt you 5 surrounding enemy legions. And let's be honest, how infantry is getting merits while everybody's attacking infantry and infantry can deal counter-attack damage, that's how and that's why you need to have taunt on your infantry. Of course, it's an amazing skill for open field PvP, it's amazing skill for behemoth fights, for the Roots of War, like tell me the gameplay, where Spirit Bone Torque will be bad. Not only that, you are going to get shelter, 50%, well, let's go and let's see, 30% defense bonus, 10% normal attack damage taken reduction, and 20% counter attack damage bonus. So basically, this one artifact has more stats than some legendary heroes, basically, and all of these stats are huge for infantry gameplay. Of course, it actually matters if you are going to make Mocking Chorus level 5, because Level 1 will give you 3 taunt, like taunt duration 3 seconds, 5 seconds is cool, and yeah, like more levels you are going to have on Spirit Bone Torque, more stats you are going to acquire, and yeah, last level 30% defense bonus. Basically, some of the legendary infantry heroes doesn't even have 30% defense bonus in total. So this is how good this artifact is. For the war pets, well, for the infantry war pits, and same goes for Goresh and Skogul, you have multiple choices, right? First of all, you can easily go with the G1 war pit for the Spirit Bow, for the Goresh and Skogul. That's of course the lizard, the venomous lizard, right? Because, well, venomous lizard works with every single infantry hero pair. Because the infection, which is the main skill, works amazingly well for infantry gameplay. Basically, when players are attacking your infantry, you are inflicting poison on attacker for 3 seconds, and of course, this warped will deal huge amount of damage while you are being infantry player. And of course, the tankier you are going to be, more damage you are going to deal, and more merits you are going to get. That's not all. You can easily go for the Bruin Bear. Bruin Bear is the warped which actually came out with the Goresh and Skogul, which naturally means that that's the perfect warped for this hero pair, right? That's already a second choice, and also most easy made warped. You can even go Sand Lizard, then you can have a lot of healing, and healing also will make you strong enough and survive a lot of fights, right? But I believe Venomous Lizard and Bruin Bear should be the choices for your Goresh and Skogul, and plus you are in a G2 heroes, right? That's actually our first March, which I wanted to speak in our 3 best March infantry setup in the game. Now, we can easily move towards the number 2 March for infantry gameplay, and I believe that second March is till this day the best March for infantry players. Even the new infantries came out. That's Kuma and Lake 1. You can easily replace Lake 1 with something else, even like Dunfell, for example, but the main point of the second March is Kuma, right? Because I believe Kuma is the most tanky infantry hero in Call of Dragons. What Kuma can survive, I believe not a single infantry hero can survive. You might ask why, because Kuma has a totally different gameplay than any other infantry hero. Basically, whenever you are attacking somebody as Kuma, you are draining the life, you are increasing the HP, and that's what makes you a lot tankier. Kuma might not have like a lot of defensive stats, lot of counter-attack damage, but Kuma has a lot of healing. Kuma has life drain, which is one of the most unique features out of any infantry heroes. And as an archer player, whenever I see Kuma, I try to avoid clicking on it because sometimes it takes so much time to actually defeat this legendary infantry hero. That's why, of course, Kuma and Lake 1 should be in our 3 best March setup for infantry players. If you are running Open Field, you are primarying Kuma. If you are running rallies, you are putting Lake 1 as a primary. But of course, awakening Kuma should be every single infantry main's number 1 priority, because every single skill is super important. Even awakening skill is really good, 20% HP bonus, and healing, life drain, HP bonuses, basically the best stat for Kuma gameplay. So as much HP bonus you are able to get, more and more tanky your Kuma and Lake 1 will be. That's why, honestly, Kuma and Lake 1 should be in your 3 March infantry setup in Call of Dragons. For the artifact, well, not a surprise, artifact has the best things for Kuma gameplay also. And let's check out the artifact, right? That's of course Serpent's Edge. Infantry unit attack, Legion defense, right? And the most important, as always, is the skill Bloodbite. For the 15 seconds, your Legion gains 30% HP. How amazing it is, right? And I also mentioned that HP bonus is the best attribute for Kuma League 1 gameplay, and you are already getting, with just simple skill, 30% HP bonus for 15 seconds. You can also deal damage to 3 nearby enemy legions, which is really good, right? And HP bonus doesn't really stop here. Additional effect. When gaining HP buff while hero skill, the Legion gains 1% attack and defense for 10 seconds, and maximum stack is 5. So you are not only getting 30% HP bonus, you are getting 5% attack, 5% defense for 10 seconds, you are dealing damage to 3 nearby legions. What else you actually need from one single artifact for infantry gameplay? This is how good this artifact is, and this artifact, I will be honest, is a must-have if you are building your Kuma in League 1 for sure. So yeah, that's our second best march in our 3 best march infantry setup in Call of Dragons. Yeah, I almost forgot, because we have to speak about warpets for Kuma in League 1, and of course that's really important. How could I really forget that? The best warpet for Kuma and League 1 is Mosrog of Orcs. I always struggle to pronounce the name. This is the warpet which is the best suited for Kuma and League 1 gameplay, and it's easy to understand why. First sentence, for the next 3 seconds, the Legion's infantry units gain 2.5% HP and deals physical damage. We are getting even more HP, right? And in a 3-star coil, you're gonna get 10%. Of course, it will rise with your attribute level. So imagine the amount of HP bonuses you are getting from the artifact, from the warpet, and from itself, Kuma and League 1. That's the best attribute in the game for them, right? So Mosrok is the mandatory warpet, I would say, for Kuma in League 1. So if you are planning to be infantry main, you already know, second march, Kuma League 1, Serpent's Edge, Mosrok, make them as strong as possible. They will be viable for a long time in Call of Dragons. So yeah, basically that's our second march for infantry players, which I believe they should always try to build and have fun and get a lot of merits. Now, the third best march for the infantry gameplay is Joren and Elanir, right? And I have a little disclaimer: Joren and Elanir won't gonna be the most tanky hero pair for infantry heroes. For that we have Kuma in League 1, for that we have Goresh and Skogul. Joren and Elanir's main idea is to deal as much counterattack damage as possible. Of course, meanwhile, they will be a little bit weaker in terms of tankiness in open field, but with the help of these so many counterattack damage bonuses, like for example, let's start, right? Second skill, counterattack damage bonus 20%. Third skill, counterattack damage bonus 10%. Fourth skill, counterattack damage factor. Let's go to Elanir, right? And I think Elanir, yeah. Damage factor after normal attacks, damage factor after counterattacks. Counterattack damage bonus 5%. Yeah, the amount of counterattack damage bonus you are getting from Joren and Elanir, that's too much, right? Because if infantry player is hitting the Joren and Elanir, they are maxed out. For sure, you are always going to feel the counterattack damage towards yourself, and that's of course not only for archers, same goes for mages, even more towards mages because they are even more squishy than archer players. So Joren and Elanir, more of a damage dealing hero pair, a little bit tanky, way more damage than Goresh and Skogul and Kuma in League 1, and you kinda have to have something like this in your 3 best lineup because, well, People don't want to target Kuma, people don't want to target Joren also, right? Because of the counter-attack damage. So, more offensive gameplay for the G5 infantry hero pair, and I have to say, you kinda have to have as your third March Joren and Elanir. I was thinking of putting Dunfell somewhere, but Dunfell is not really stronger than Joren and Elanir for sure, right? So that's our third March for infantry gameplay, and of course we're gonna speak about the artifact also. The artifact, it's not really a surprise. The new artifact, Forgotten Shield, is the artifact for this hero pair. And since Joren and Elanir has more offensive skills, this artifact has more defensive stats and bonuses. Infantry unit HP, Legion HP, right? But at the same time, you are going to deal damage to 5 nearby enemy legions. For each Legion hit, the Legion gains 5% defense, and the maximum will be 25% defense for 20 seconds. That's huge, right? That's the defensive stats which we were looking for from the artifact. Imagine this artifact being offensive, Joren and Elanir will be unplayable because they will be defeated super fast. Also, after successful parry, the Legion ignores 2% of enemy defense for 10 seconds, up to 10%. So we still got a little bit offensive stuff in Forgotten Shield's additional effect, and also parry is the feature which only Joren has in Call of Dragons, which is pretty unique in my opinion. So, Forgotten Shield is the artifact for Joren and Elanir. Now go and check out the Warped, which will be perfectly suited for Joren and Elanir, and of course that will be the third March which we're gonna speak about for infantry. The perfect Warped for Joren and Elanir is of course Brimstone. Not only because recommended heroes it's written Joren, but well, let's read it, right? First thing which you have to see is parry. So if we're gonna see parry on blow off, it means this is only for Joren, right? Because Joren is the only hero which is going to have parry in Call of Dragons. So what this Warped does, deals damage, physical damage to target, gains some marks for next 10 seconds. The Legion's parry chance is increased, which is great synergy towards the Joren. After successful parry, deals even more damage to the Legion that launches a normal attack against it, which is basically a counter attack towards the ranged units. So not a lot of defensive stats for this Warped. It looks like a more offensive style of Warped for Joren and Elanir with the synergy towards the parry. If you don't want to have too much offensive Warped for this hero pair, you can easily go back towards the Venomous Lizard, and you can easily use even Venomous Lizard for your lineup. You can even use Mosrock for Joren and Elanir, because Mosrock will make your hero pair more tanky because of the HP bonuses which you are receiving from the Warped. So yeah, the best 3 March for infantry setup looks like this. The first March is Goresh and Skogul. Second one is Kuma and Lake 1. Third one is Joren and Elanir. I hope you are going to use my tips, because those tips are going to get you a lot of merits. As always, if you liked the video, press like, subscribe, share. It gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody an amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.